sitting outside enjoying this beautiful weather. I hope you are too. This chapter is called Season's Greetings. Weirdly enough, when we got back home and Mom brought in the mail, there were holiday cards from both Julian's family and August's family. Julian's holiday card was a picture of Julian wearing a tie, looking like he was about to go to the opera or something. August's holiday card was of a cute old dog wearing reindeer antlers, a red nose, and red booties. There was a cartoon bubble above the dog's head that read, "Ho, ho, ho." On the inside of the card it read, "To the Will family, peace on earth. Love, Isabel, Nate, Olivia, August, and Daisy." Cute card, huh? I said to Mom, who had hardly said a word to me all the way home. I think she honestly just didn't know what to say. "That must be their dog," I said. "Do you want to tell me what's going on inside of your head, Jack?" She answered me seriously. "I bet you they put a picture of their dog on the card every year," I said. She took the card from my hands and looked at the picture carefully. Then she raised her eyebrows and her shoulders and gave me back the card. "We're very lucky, Jack. There's so much we take for granted." "I know," I said. I knew what she was talking about without her having to say it. I heard that Julian's mom actually photoshopped August's face out of the class picture when she got it. She gave a copy to a couple of the other moms. "That's just awful," said Mom. "People are they're not always so great." "I know. Is that why you hit Julian?" "No." And then I told her why I punched Julian. And I told her that August was my ex-friend now. And I told her about Halloween. Letters, emails, Facebook texts. So this chapter is set up literally like letters or emails or, Facebook messages, whatever you want to say. The first one was written December 18th. It says, "Dear Mr. Tushman, I am very, very sorry for punching Julian. It was very, very wrong of me to do that. I am writing a letter to him to tell him that too. If it's okay, I'd really rather not tell you why I did what I did, because it doesn't really make it right anyway. Also, I'd rather not make Julian get in trouble for having said something he should not have. Very sincerely, Jack Will." December 18th. Dear Julian, I am very, very, very sorry for hitting you. It was wrong of me. I hope you are okay. I hope your grown-up tooth grows in fast. Mine always do. Sincerely, Jack Will. December 26th, so the day after Christmas now. Dear Jack, thank you so much for your letter. One thing I've learned after being a middle school director for 20 years is there are almost always more than two sides to every story. Although I don't know the details, I have an inkling about what may have sparked the confrontation with Julian. While nothing justifies striking another student ever, I also know good friends are sometimes worth defending. This has been a tough year for a lot of students, as the first year of middle school usually is. Keep up the good work and keep up being a fine boy. We all know you are. All the best, Lawrence Tushman, middle school director. The next one it says, Dear Mr. Tushman, I spoke with Amanda and John Will yesterday, and they expressed their regret at Jack's having punched our son Julian in the mouth. I'm writing to let you know that my husband and I support your decision to allow Jack to return to Beecher Prep after a 2-day suspension. Although I think hitting a child would be a valid grounds for expulsion in other schools, I agree such extreme measures aren't warranted here. We have known the Will family since our boys were in kindergarten and are confident that every measure will be taken to ensure this doesn't happen again. To that end, I wonder if Jack's unexpectedly violent behavior might have been a result of too much pressure being placed on his young shoulders. I'm speaking specifically of the new child with special needs, who both Jack and Julian were asked to befriend. In retrospect, and having now seen the child in question at various school functions and in the class pictures, I think it may have been too much to ask of our children to be able to process all that. Certainly when Julian mentioned he was having a hard time befriending the boy, we told him he was off the hook in that regard. We think the transition to middle school is hard enough without having to place greater burdens or hardships on these young, impressionable minds. I should also mention that as a member of the school board, I was a little disturbed that more consideration was not given during this child's application process. to the fact that Beecher Prep is not an inclusion school. There are many parents, myself included, who question this decision to let this child into our school at all. At the very least, I am somewhat troubled that this child was not held to the same stringent application standards, i.e. interview, that the rest of the incoming middle school students were. Best, Melissa Perper Albans. The next one. Dear Mrs. Albans, thank you for your email outlining your concerns. Were I not convinced that Jack Will is extremely sorry for his actions, and were I not confident that he would not repeat those actions, rest assured that I would not be allowing him back to Beecher Prep. As for your other concerns regarding our new student, August, please note that he does not have special needs. He is neither disabled, handicapped, nor developmentally delayed in any way, so there was no reason to assure anyone would take issue with his attendance to Beecher Prep, whether it is an inclusion school or not. In terms of the application process, the admissions director and I both felt it within our right to hold the interview off-site at August's home for reasons that are obvious. We felt that this slight break in protocol was warranted, but in no way prejudicial, in one way or another, to the application review. August is an extremely good student and has secured the friendship of some truly exceptional young people, including Jack Will. At the beginning of the school year, when I enlisted certain children to be welcoming committee to August, I did so as a way of easing his transition into a school environment. I did not think asking these children to be especially kind to a new student would place any extra burdens or hardships on them. In fact, I thought it would teach them a thing or two about empathy and friendship and loyalty. As it turns out, Jack Will didn't need to learn any of these virtues. He already had them in abundance. Thank you again for being in touch. Sincerely, Lawrence Tushman. The next chapter is from Mrs. Albans. I'm sorry, not the next chapter. The next letter is from Mrs. Albans to Mrs. Albans from Jack Will. Hi, Melissa. Thank you for being so understanding about this incident with Jack. He is, as you know, extremely sorry for his actions. I hope you do accept our offer to pay Julian's dental bills. We are very touched by your concern regarding Jack's friendship with August. Please know we have asked Jack if he felt any undue pressure about any of this, and the answer was a resolute no. He enjoys August's company and feels like he has made a good friend. Hope you have a happy new year, John and Amanda Will. Hi, August. Jackalope Will wants to be friends with you on Facebook. To Augie Pullman. Sorry. Hey, August, it's me, Jack Will. I noticed I'm not on your friends list anymore. Hope you friend me again, because I'm really sorry. I just wanted to say that. Sorry. I know why you're mad at me now. I'm sorry. I didn't mean the stuff I said. I was so stupid. I hope you can forgive me. Hope we can be friends again. Jack. Next one is a text from August. Got your message. You know why I'm mad at you now? Did Summer tell you? Next is a text from Jack. She told me Bleeding Scream is a hint, but didn't get it at first. Then I remember seeing Bleeding Scream in homeroom on Halloween. Didn't know it was you, though. You were coming as Boba Fett. Next text from August. I changed my mind at the last minute. Did you really punch Julian? Next one's from Jack. Yeah, I punched him out and knocked out a tooth in the back. A baby tooth.
Mommy.
From August. Why'd you punch him? From Jack. I don't know. From August. Liar, I bet he said something about me, right? From Jack. He's a jerk, but I was a jerk too. Really, really, really sorry for what I said, dude. Okay, can we be friends again?
Mommy, can we go over Alexa's yard?
From August. Okay. From Jack. Awesome. From August. But tell me the truth, okay? Would you really want to kill yourself if you were me? From Jack. No, I swear on my life, but dude, I wouldn't want to kill myself I would want to kill myself if I were Julian. From August. LOL. Yes, dude, we're friends again. Next chapter is called Back from Winter Break. Despite what Tushman said, there was no clean slate when I went back to school in January. In fact, things were totally weird from the second I got to my locker in the morning. I'm next to Amos, who's always been a pretty straight up kid. And I was like, yo, what's up? And he basically just nodded a half hello and closed his locker door and left. I was like, okay, that was bizarre. And then I said, hey, what's up? To Henry, who didn't even bother half smiling, but just looked away. Okay, so something's up. Dissed by 2 people in less than 5 minutes. Not that anyone's counting. I thought I'd try one more time with Tristan, and boom, same thing. He actually looked nervous, like he was afraid of talking to me. I've got a form of the plague now, is what I thought. This is Julian's payback. And that's pretty much how it went all morning. Nobody talked to me. Not true. The girls were totally normal with me. And August talked to me, of course. And actually, I have to say both Maxes said hello, which made me feel kind of bad for never, ever hanging out with them in 5 years I've been in their class. I hoped lunch would be better, but it wasn't. I sat down at my usual table with Luca and Isaiah. I guess I thought since they weren't in the super popular group, but were kind of middle-of-the-road jock kids, that I'd be safe with them. But they barely nodded when I said hello. Then, when our table was called, they got their lunches and never came back. I saw them find a table way over at the other end of the cafeteria. They weren't at Julian's table, but they were near him, like on the fringe of popularity. So anyway, I'd been ditched. I knew table switching was something that happened in 5th grade, but I never thought it would happen to me. It felt really awful being at the table by myself. I felt like everyone was watching me. It also made me feel like I had no friends. I decided to skip lunch and go read in the library. Next chapter is called The War. Where's your brother? It was Charlotte who had the inside scoop on why everyone was dissing me. I found a note inside my locker at the end of the day. Meet me in room 301 right after school. Come by yourself, Charlotte. She was already inside the room when I walked in. Sup, I said. Hey, she said. She went over to the door, looked left and right, and then closed the door and locked it from the inside. She then turned to face me and started biting her nail as she talked. Look, I feel bad about what's going on, and I just wanted to tell you what I know. Promise you won't tell anyone I talked to you? Promise. So Julian had this huge holiday party over the winter break, she said. I mean, huge. My sister's friend had her sweet 16 at the same place last year. There were like 200 people there. So, I mean, it's a huge place. Yeah, and, well, pretty much everybody in the whole grade was there. Not everybody, I joked. Right, not everybody, duh. But, like, even parents were there, you know. Like, my parents were there. You know, Julian's mom is the vice president of the school board, right? So she knows a lot of people. Anyway, so basically what happened at the party was that Julian went around telling everyone that you punched him because you had emotional problems. What? And that you would have gotten expelled, but his parents begged the school not to expel you. What? And that none of it would have happened in the first place if Tushman hadn't forced you to be friends with Augie. He said his mom thinks that you, quote unquote, snapped under the pressure. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. No one bought into that, right? I said. She shrugged. That's not even the point. The point is, he's really popular. And you know, my mom heard that his mom is actually pushing the school to review Augie's application to Beecher. Can she do that? It's about Beecher not being an inclusion school. That's a type of school that mixes normal kids with special needs. That's just stupid. Augie doesn't have special needs. Yeah, but she's saying that if the school is changing the way they usually do things in some ways, but they're not changing anything. Yeah, they did. Didn't you notice they changed the theme of the New Year's art show? In the past years, 5th graders painted self-portraits. But this year, they made us do those ridiculous self-portraits as animals. Remember? So big freaking deal. I know. I'm not saying I agree. I'm just saying that's what she's saying. I know. This is just so messed up. I know. Anyway, Julian said that he thinks being friends with Augie is bringing you down. And that for your own good, you need to stop hanging out with them so much. And if you start losing all your old friends, it'll be like a big wake-up call. So basically, for your own good, he's going to stop being your friend completely. Newsflash, I stopped being his friend completely first. Yeah, but he's convinced all the boys to stop being your friend for your own good. That's why nobody's talking to you. You're talking to me. Yeah, well, this is more of a boy thing, she explained. The girls are staying neutral, except Savannah's group, because they're going out with Julian's group. But to everybody else, this is really a boy war. I nodded. She tilted her head to one side and pouted like she felt sorry for me. Is it okay that I told you all of this? She said. Yeah, of course. I don't care who talks to me or not. I lied. This is all just so dumb. She nodded. Hey, does Augie know any of this? Of course not. At least not from me. And Summer? I don't think so. Look, I better go. Just so you know, my mom thinks Julian's mom is a total idiot. She said she thinks people like her are more concerned about what their kid's class picture looks like than doing the right thing. You heard about the photoshopping, right? Yeah, that was just sick. Totally, she answered, nodding. Anyway, I better go. I just wanted you all to know what was up and stuff. Thanks, Charlotte. I'll let you know if I hear anything else, she said. Before she went out, she looked left and right outside the door to make sure no one saw her leaving. I guess even though she was neutral, she didn't want to be seen with me. Switching tables. The next day at lunch, stupid me, I sat down at a table with Tristan, Nino, and Pablo. I thought maybe they were safe because they weren't really considered popular, but they were out there playing D&D at recess either. They were sort of in-betweeners, and at first I thought I scored because they were basically too nice to not acknowledge my presence when I walked over to the table. They all said, hey, though I could tell they looked at each other. But then the same thing happened that happened yesterday. Our lunch table was called, they got their food, and then headed toward a new table on the other side of the cafeteria. Unfortunately, Mrs. G, who was the lunch teacher that day, saw what was happening and chased after them. That's not allowed, boys, she scolded them loudly. This is not that kind of school. You get right back to your table. Oh, great, like that was going to help. Before they could be forced to sit back down at the table, I got up with my tray and walked away really fast. I could hear Mrs. G call my name, but I pretended not to hear and just kept walking to the other side of the cafeteria, behind the lunch counter. Sit with us, Jack. It was Summer. She and August were sitting at their table, and they were both waving to me to come over. Why I didn't sit with August the first day of school. Okay, I'm a total hypocrite, I know. That very first day of school, I remember seeing August in the cafeteria. Everybody was looking at him, talking about him. Back then, no one was used to his face or even knew that he was coming to Beecher. So it was a total shocker for a lot of people to see him there on the first day of school. Most kids were even afraid to go near him. So when I saw him going into the cafeteria ahead of me, I knew he'd have no one to sit with. But I just couldn't bring myself to sit with him. I'd been hanging out with him all morning long because we had so many classes together. And I guess I was just kind of wanting a little normal time to chill with other kids. So when I saw him move to a table on the other side of the lunch counter, I purposely found a table as far away from there as I could find. I sat down with Isaiah and Luca, even though I'd never met them before. And we talked about baseball the whole time, and I played basketball with them at recess. They became my lunch table from then on. I heard Summer had sat down with August, which surprised me because I knew for a fact she wasn't one of the kids that Tushman had talked to about being friends with August. So I knew she was doing it just to be nice. And that was pretty brave, I thought. So now here I was sitting with Summer and August, and they were totally being nice to me, as always. I filled them in about everything Charlotte had told me, except for the whole big part about having my snapped under the pressure of being Augie's friend, or the part about Julian's mom saying that Augie had special needs, or the part about the school board. I guess all I really told them was how Julian had had a holiday party and managed to turn the whole grade against me. It just feels so weird, I said, to not have people talking to you, pretending you don't even exist. Augie started smiling. You think? He said sarcastically. Welcome to my world. Okay, the next chapter is called Sides. So here are the official sides, said Summer at lunch the next day. She pulled out a folded piece of loose leaf paper and opened it. It had 3 columns of names. Jack's side: Jack, August, Reed, Max G, Max W. Julian's side: Miles, Henry, Amos, Simon, Tristan, Pablo, Nino, Isaiah, Luca, Jake, Toland, Roman, Ben, Emmanuel, Zeke, Tommaso. Neutrals: Malik, Remo, Jose, Leaf, Ram, Ivan, and Russell. "Where'd you get this?" said Augie, looking over my shoulder as I read the list. "Charlotte made it, Summer answered quickly. "She gave it to me last period. She said she thought you should know who was on your side, Jack." "Yeah, not many people, that's for sure," I said. "Reed is," she said, "and the 2 Maxes." "Great, the nerds are on my side." "Don't be mean," said Summer. "I think Charlotte likes you, by the way." "Yeah, I know." "Are you going to ask her out?" "Are you kidding? I can't now that everybody's acting like I have the plague." The second I said it, I realized I shouldn't have said it. There was this awkward moment of silence. I looked at Augie. "It's okay," he said. "I knew about that." "Sorry, dude," I said. "I didn't know they called it the plague, though." He said, "I figured it was more like the cheese touch or something." "Oh, yeah, like Diary of a Wimpy Kid," I nodded. "The plague actually sounds cooler," he joked. "Like someone could catch the Black Death of ugliness." As he said this, he made air quotes. "I think it's awful," said Summer, but Augie shrugged while taking a big sip from his juice box. "Anyway, I'm not asking Charlotte out," I said. "My mom thinks we're all too young to be dating anyway," she answered. "What if Reed asks you out?" I said. "Would you go?" I could tell she was surprised. "No," she said. "I'm just asking," I laughed. She shook her head and smiled. "Why? What do you know?" "Nothing. I'm just asking," I said. "I actually agree with my mom," she said. "I do think we're too young to be dating. I mean, I just don't see what the rush is." "Yeah, I agree," said August, which is kind of a shame. You know what, with all those babes who keep throwing themselves at me and stuff. He said this in such a funny way that the milk I was drinking came out of my nose when I laughed, which made us all totally crack up. Okay, that's it for today. Post the questions. Bye.